first reading is from Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord my whole life long. The reading from the Gospel is John chapter 9, verses 1 through 41. As he walked along, he saw a man blind from birth. His disciples asked him, "Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?" Jesus answered, "Neither this man nor his parents sinned. He was born blind so that God's works might be revealed in him. We must work the works of him who sent me while it is day. Night is coming when no one can work. As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world." When he had said this, he spat on the ground and made mud with the saliva and spread the mud on the man's eyes, saying to him, "Go, wash in the pool of Siloam," which means sent. Then he went and washed and came back, able to see. The neighbors and those who had seen him before as a beggar began to ask, "Is this not the man who used to sit and beg?" Some were saying, "It is he." Others were saying, "No, but it is someone like him." He kept saying, "I am the man." But they kept asking him, "Then how were your eyes opened?" He answered, "The man called Jesus made mud, spread it on my eyes, and said to me, 'Go to Siloam and wash.' Then I went and washed and received my sight." They said to him, "Where is he?" He said, "I do not know." They brought to the Pharisees the man who had formerly been blind. Now it was a Sabbath day when Jesus made the mud and opened his eyes. Then the Pharisees also began to ask him how he had received his sight. He said to them, "He put mud on my eyes. Then I washed, and now I see." Some of the Pharisees said, "This man is not from God, for he does not observe the Sabbath." But others said, "How can a man who is a sinner perform such signs?" And they were divided. So they said again to the blind man, "What do you say about him? It was your eyes he opened." He said, "He is a prophet." The Jews did not believe that he had been blind and had received his sight until they called the parents of the man who had received his sight and asked them, "Is this your son, who you say was born blind? How then does he now see?" His parents answered, "We know that this is our son, and that he was born blind, but we do not know how it is that now he sees, nor do we know who opened his eyes. Ask him. He is of age. He will speak for himself." His parents said this because they were afraid of the Jews, for the Jews had already agreed that anyone who confessed Jesus to be the Messiah would be put out of the synagogue. Therefore his parents said, "He is of age. Ask him." So for the second time they called the man who had been blind, and they said to him, "Give glory to God. We know that this man is a sinner." He answered, "I do not know whether he is a sinner. One thing I do know, that though I was blind, now I see." They said to him, "What did he do to you? How did he open your eyes?" He answered them, "I have told you already, and you would not listen. Why do you want to hear it again? Do you also want to become his disciples?" Then they reviled him, saying, "You are his disciple, but we are disciples of Moses. We know that God has spoken to Moses, but as for this man, we do not know where he comes from." The man answered, "Here is an astonishing thing. You do not know where he comes from, and yet he opened my eyes. We know that God does not listen to sinners, but he does listen to one who worships him and obeys his will. Never since the world began has it been heard that anyone opened the eyes of a person born blind. If this man were not from God, he could do nothing." They answered him, "You were born entirely in sins, and are you trying to teach us?" And they drove him out. Jesus heard that they had driven him out, and when he found him, he said, "Do you believe in the Son of Man?" He answered, "And who is he, sir? Tell me so that I may believe in him." Jesus said to him, "You have seen him, and the one speaking with you is he." He said, "Lord, I believe," and he worshipped him. Jesus said, "I came into this world for judgment, so that those who do not see may see, and those who do see may become blind." Some of the Pharisees near him heard this and said to him, "Surely we are not blind, are we?" Jesus said to them, "If you were blind, you would not have sin. But now that you say, 'We see,' your sin remains." Here ends the reading.
Good morning. You hear me okay? My name is Dory. I love that story about Dory. Thank you, Julia, for doing that, because I'm a person with a brain injury, and I went to see Dory, and I thought, that's me, lost all the time. Absolutely, I use a GPS every time I go someplace. So my name is Dory. And I'm really happy to be invited to join you again. This is like coming home, because at the beginning of my journey, this was the first church that I gave a sermon in. And you will always have a very special place in my heart for this church. And I was so excited when I finished and nobody left, you know? So I thought that was a success. I want to emphasize to my delight in the commitment that this church has for being more inclusive to people with disabilities. You take awesome care of me, and I know that you're working on being more inclusive. I've come and I've done an audit. I've given, I think it was a 25-page report to the clergy and to a few others. One of the things that was missing from that is a needs assessment for you. I know Jim talked about this, but this is really important so that I can complete my work. So if you fill this out so that we know exactly what you as a congregation need, we can tailor and prioritize the accessibility issues so that we take care of those first. Because in these kind of times, we can't be everything to everybody, but we can be, I say we because I feel like, I belong here, but, we can make sure that we have what we have need for the members. So please fill that out for us as your homework for today. In preparation for this sermon has given me an opportunity for contemplation and growth. It was a little bit different than something that I've worked on before. And it made me think and stretch. And I think that's what our sermons and our speeches and coming to church, what that's supposed to do. I think, what is prayer? And how do people with disabilities relate to prayer? Do we pray differently? I had a lot of thought about that. And I thought about my life over the years, and prayer has been the core of spirituality for centuries. It's been the one thing that has been constant through generations and generations and generations of changing how we interpret the Bible, how we view our liturgy, what lens we look at religion from. The very constant, very stable, basic in almost all religions is prayer. It's spirituality. It's very individualized, and it's very much connected to your relationship with God. Prayer is a conversation with God. What kind of conversations do we have? Do we talk to God as we would a stranger, an acquaintance, a co-worker, a family member, a friend, or do we talk to Him at all? My whole perspective about prayer has changed over the years, mostly due to my life experiences and challenges and changes in spiritual growth. This passage that we read today about the blind man and also the 23rd Psalm remind me so much of my childhood. And I grew up in the tradition of literal interpretation of the Bible. And the prayers of my childhood were mostly about salvation. We didn't pray for our neighbors, except for the concept of making sure everybody heard the word and was saved. We didn't pray for the world, except to make sure that everybody was saved. After my accident that left me with a list of disabilities, my relationship with prayer was a little bit more confrontational. Our family believed that disability was contracted because you sin. And of course, everybody sins, but you had to really mess up to get a disability. I know my grandma used to say that, I needed to do whatever it was. I needed a mind. I needed to be a good girl or whatever, or lightning was going to strike me. This was our interpretation. So our family also believed that if you prayed really, really hard enough and you believed hard enough, you would be healed. And my grandma always had the TV evangelist Oral Roberts on TV. She always had it on. And they would, y'all know who Oral Roberts is? You've all heard of him? Yeah, everybody's heard of Oral Roberts. There would be lines of people waiting for prayer for healing, praying away disability. God's answer for me was not to make me disability free. But I didn't realize that for many years. I thought that I just didn't have enough faith. I thought that I didn't believe enough to pray away disability. My prayers after my accident were angry prayers. Angry. I was more concerned with His answers than I was with my relationship with God. I spent a good amount of time protesting in denial and lamenting, why me? And we all done that. Why me? Why me, Lord? What did I do to deserve these problems? I went through my list of sins. I was 16. How much can you sin? Well, okay, we won't go there. We won't go there. How much can you sin when you're 16? Okay. Thinking about that, the list would roll down the aisle and out the door. Anyway, I wondered, what did I deserve to do that? And the answer that did not come along for a long time. And then when it did, I wasn't really happy with that answer, because the answer was, why not? I was anxious waiting for His response. I was rebellious. I really did not want to hear this answer, why not? Why not you? I was grieving. I don't know if you realize this or not, but people, when they acquire a disability, they go through the grieving process. It's a loss. You grieve the loss of your abilities and your future, or what I thought my future would be. Instead of being able to rest in the knowledge of who God really is, I was mad at Him. I'll be truthful, I was really mad at Him. seen that God is the all-wise, all-powerful, all-loving God of the universe. So like an angry child, I didn't pray, and I didn't talk to him for a long time. The phrase, the power of prayer, is used throughout the Christian community. Each of us must find out what that means for us. And we'll explore that a little bit, Jim and I, in the second hour. For me, the discovery of prayer as a way to give me strength and lead me to action. And that gave me purpose. I realized that God had answered my prayers so long ago, and he said, why not? But he also said, now, what can you do with that? Do something. And I learned that the scripture about the blind man was not about healing my body. It was healing my soul. It was about finding my spirituality and following Jesus. And it was about being called to action. I use the name of the phrase today for the name of my sermon, in Jesus' name, amen. We close our prayers with this phrase because we pray through Jesus to God. But to me, this phrase is not about closure. It's about beginning of action. Praying for justice and praying as protests injustices of the world. I'm reminded of the civil rights movement, where every protest march ended in church with prayers of thanksgiving. I'm also reminded of the great Rabbi Dr. Abraham Joshua Heschel, who is considered one of America's greatest religious figures of the last century. He was marching with Dr. Martin Luther King at Selma, and you can see in pictures they're wearing garlands, and they're at the bridge. They're getting ready to march across the bridge at Selma. And he related that march as feeling like he was praying with his legs and his feet. Why am I telling you this? You've seen a lot of this lately. There's been a lot of question, a lot of controversy. Why are people protesting? Why are people in the streets? Why are people marching? Well, in my own journey and acceptance of disability, I realized that God did not wish pain and disability and injustice upon us. He doesn't give that to us. I don't believe he gives that to us. I've learned that God is a loving God, not the punishing God that I grew up with as a little girl. I've also learned that he gave us a mechanism for sanctioned action, and that's prayer. I've been involved with the disability rights movement since 1970. I have been in many protests and rallies. And one I particularly remember is what we call the Capitol Crawl. If you know anything about disability rights movement, you can key in Capitol Crawl into the internet and it will talk about the Capitol Crawl. People with disabilities, we were trying to get the Rehabilitation Act, which was the very first, maybe, civil rights act for people with disabilities. We were trying to get it passed, and we were trying to get the regulations implemented and signed. We got out of our wheelchairs and crawled to the top of the Capitol steps in Washington, D.C. Have you been there? Have you been up there? There were hundreds, and the closer you get to the top, the more steps that get more on the way up there. So many steps. And my first prayer was, please God, I may get to the top before I die.